Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to operating at self-grasping levels versus the absolute level with subtitle Tsem. So, self-grasping levels. I'm assuming it's talking about Maya, the world. And then the absolute level, which I'm not too sure in terms of his speaking what the absolute level is. In terms of Advaita Vedanta, that's Brahman. And self-grasping level, I'm assuming that's Maya, the world that we live in. So, anyways, I thought this was pretty interesting, especially coming from his particular perspective and his particular point of view. So let's go and give this video a shot.
The way that Dharma Protector can help you is by samaya alone. That's all. If you break your samaya, the Dharma Protector will be 100% ineffective for your business, for your family, for protection, for your attainments, for retreat, for money, anything you want will be ineffective. You can do all the things you want. You can take the statue and drown in the black sea. Nothing more.
Let's pause real quick, just because that's very weird. That's very absolutist. This is something that I see in Western religion. It's very absolutist. You must follow the book. You must follow these things. Essentially, don't get me wrong. They have like the forgiveness stuff, but it's still absolutist. As in, there's no other way other than that. I'm just wondering. It seems absolutist here, where it's like anything you want would be ineffective, just because if you break Samaya, the Dharma Protector will be 100% ineffective against you. And then it says it doesn't matter if you drown a statue in black tea, all the black tea you want, which is kind of strange, but there's more to say. So
Do all the things you want. You can take the statue and drown in the black sea. Nothing more.
nothing will happen.
It is totally on your commitments alone.
It is totally on your commitments alone. So again, I don't understand the reference between the black tea. I'm guessing that's like an offering, not necessarily a cleansing, because I'm assuming whatever you did with the samaya is that it's like a sin in a sense, as the best equivalency I can think of. And I would assume if you dip in a black tea, it would be cleansing the sin, but it's not. It seems like it's more of an offering that you can still get what you want. But the sin is still there. Because the sin is still there, you don't get what you want, so you have to find a way to cleanse the sin. Again, sin is just an example that I'm using that's very universally known, but it's probably not the equivalency here. But it's a
Yeah.
good proxy.
So don't run around and steal from people and they go do you Dharma practice. No effect. Very little. Don't sleep by Dharma teachings and then nothing goes in. You don't understand anything. You do Dharma practice. It's just a game.
Sorry, pause right there real quick. I mean, don't go to sleep in your Dharma. Yeah, don't sleep at Dharma teachings. Man, I mean, it seems pretty harsh, pretty strict. And I hear Sadhguru and Swami Sarvapriyananda talk about these things. They kind of joke around a bit, but they understand that it can be boring. Obviously, you shouldn't be sleeping in it, but at least it seems to be forgiving. But I don't.
Don't have fights with your lover and your boyfriend and your girlfriend and just fight incessantly. And then you do black tea. You know why? Very little effect. You may be pouring an ocean of black tea, but it becomes like 1 or 2 drops. Why? You're hypocritical. You're a hypocrite. You're an absolute hypocrite. Why? You're not even helping all sentient beings. And you don't think about all sentient beings. And if you don't think about all sentient beings, how can you check that? Because you can't even think about 1 or 2 beings around you. How? I'm not saying this to criticize any of you. You see, some of you have been with me for many years. Some of you have been with me for many lifetimes. Some of you have been with me for a few years, for many lifetimes. So when I teach you these things, it is in hopes of helping. Assisting. And knowledge. So if you have the merits to be here, it is 100% merits. If after today's teaching you go and you keep doing what you're doing, I did my job. Because I was advised by my protector in the hall to advise. 立即有，係嘛？聽我冇信心，記住立即有。He was doing this many times. The production protected me. Advise your students, advise many times. Advise. I advise until I caught blood. 2006 Hiroka Vajrasattva practice. Even in the Theravada Vinaya, this is not even Tantrayana Mahayana. This is in the Theravada countries, okay? Lama Yeshe says, even in the Theravada Vinaya, it is explained that whether or not a monk or a nun has broken a vow depends primarily on the mind, not on the object or the external action. All four components of the action, motivation, object, action, and completion, must be present for breaking the vows to be complete. The key component is the motivation, how much you are grasping. Listen carefully. The key component is the motivation, how much you are grasping. How much you grasp. What is grasping? Me. People who are not aware, very clear sign of self-grasping person. They always make mistakes, they lose things, they forget things, they make you repeat things, they make you say things over, they burden you, they make problems. When you live with them, they burden you. What is that? Self-grasping mind is so strong. It is so strong. And the people who know things very well, they're very quick, they're very sharp, but they don't share. And they don't give. And they don't let go. It's equal to the other person. You may be very sharp and your partner is very stupid. But if you put your partner down because they're stupid and you're sharp and it comes from a self-mastery mind, you go to hell, not them. Going to hell, or living in hell, or being in hell, or the three lower realms, is totally from grasping, not the action. So as I said, a nun, a monk can have sex, can steal, can run around and do all the things you think that a monk can't do and not break the vows. It's dependent on the motivation. But that's not to say our action is not important. It is important.
That's kind of weird that he said all these things and it says that he could do all those things and not break the vow. It depends on the motivation. I wonder if his term of motivation is my term of intent. Like, he had good intention, but it ended up turning bad. There's a famous saying in probably in the Western world or just in America. They say hell is paved with good intentions, meaning that just in case you didn't know, it's like when you pave the road, good intentions are paved to go straight to hell. Because a lot of people use that. It's like, oh, my intentions was good, but it ends up turning bad. The problem is that they only take note of the good intentions going bad, not the good intentions going good. So to me, intentions matter a lot, but and I'm wondering if the same thing here. It depends on the motivation. Like I say, it depends on the intention.
But I'm telling you on the absolute level. And what makes you break the vow is grasping. From grasping arises the four: motivation, intent, motivation, action, object, and completion. Very simple. So when Mukbal or Chicken Chungba drinks sake all day, is he drinking sake with self-grasping mind? You don't simply say, oh, he's drinking sake for the benefit of all beings, maybe he's collecting the back karma for his students, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he has wind energy and then he can purify. No. It's not that. That is a very small part. What it is Mukbal, Chicken Chungba, in this case, Chujan Doji Chang, every Song Doji Chang, His Holiness. His Holiness Heavy Ling Doji Chang. These masters, it's not what they do, and that they can control their winds, or Jugungyangun, it's not that. What it is they exist on the absolute level. The self-grasping mind has been directed. So therefore, whatever they do is just doing. There's no good or bad. It's just doing. It's like a theatrical play. When we make a movie, it looks very real. The people get killed, blood, gore, their head gets cut off. Men make money, they lose money. And, in the movie, actually when we watch good movies, we cry. And then when you cut lights on, everybody's like, oh, the actors go back, they're bitchy, they're whatever, But 1 minute, this woman's like, oh, poor them, they got run over by a truck, and, poor them, and you're crying. But then when they cut the lights and cut the action, the woman gets up, goes to her room, she may be really bitchy. But when when you watch the movie, you're so into it, and you're so attached, and you actually cry. And we idolize all this. We idolize people who can bring these emotions to us. Why? Because we can relate to that. How can we relate? Self-grasping, self-grasping.
Hmm.
Similarly, when we're on this level, we're just like someone watching a movie. It's very real. Very, very real. Oh, totally. So when we cry, or when we laugh, it's grasping. Why? When we regret, it's grasping. Even when we regret the wrong way, it's grasping. Do you know why? You're afraid for yourself, not for the harm you did. You're afraid for yourself. Even regret and doing actions to purify what you've done wrong is not destroying self-grasping. Do you know why? It's only the lowest scope of practice. Fear for yourself. So when we regret what we did to our boyfriend and girlfriend, and husbands and wives and children, maybe we didn't take care of our children, they grew up to be monsters, maybe we can take care of our parents and, we're monsters. It could be anything. When we regret and we cry and we want to do something about it, we're scared. It is still negative action. I'll tell you why. Because you're scared for yourself. It's not for anyone. It's for yourself. It's you. And that's what Tantra explains to us. The real Yamataka, the real Vajradhana, is on the absolute level. No form, no taste, no touch, no sound, no tangibility, yet existence from non-grasping.
So this is the thing I was talking about, like, I want to say that for members only, but I guess I have to say it kind of. But this is kind of what I was thinking. It's like, and what it's trying to explain essentially is that there's detachment to the action itself. Interesting, I guess, and maybe perhaps his particular teaching is called the grasping mind. Attachment and not and grasping minds are the same, essentially interchangeable because they're the same thing. I'm assuming that's what it sounds like. Now there could be maybe more to the grasping mind, maybe, but so far it seems very similar to attachment to me. Because attachment makes perfect sense to me. You're attached to things. You want things. The things that you want may not be necessarily external. It could be internally as well, as in I want to be smart, I want to be hot, I want to be tall, I want to be rich, I want to be like, a lot of the ego wanting kind of deal. So the attachment of the ego itself. It itself also attaching to external things, wanting this and that. Um, but it's really weird to think that you can do actions without attachment. But the weirdest thing was the fact that when he talked about the monk or the nun doing all those things and it doesn't break a vow. But he did say, just all these external things doesn't mean it doesn't matter.
People don't understand. So as long as we keep regretting, crying for the things we did wrong, it's self-grasping. Happy about the good things we do, it's self-grasping. Why are we happy? Oh, I did a good thing, I'm going to be okay in my next life. I'm going to be alright. I'm going to be fine. Me. Again. You see, when we did Dharma action, we rejoice. It's not rejoicing about you having a good life. It's rejoicing that you can bring all sentient beings closer to out of grasping.
Ooh. It's rejoiced that we can bring all sentient beings closer to out of grasping. Okay, so the difference there, I guess, is as opposed to saying I'm rejoicing because I made something good for myself, you're rejoicing because you made good for something for someone else. So you can be happy for someone else. But if making someone else happy makes you happy as well, I mean, would that be still grasping though? Because genuinely, I love seeing people happy. It makes me happy. So we can bring all sentient beings closer to out of grasping. And I guess I guess the reason why it conflicts a little bit, kinda, like I have no issues with people making themselves happy, and kind of like in terms of Advaita Vedanta, at least as far as I understand, that there's nothing wrong with making yourself happy. That's kind of, it's not necessarily the whole point. The point of, as far as I understand, in terms of Vedanta, is to be enlightened, essentially non-attachment. But for me, it's a little bit different. You can enjoy the fruits of life, the good things in life. So long as you're not harming anyone else, there's nothing wrong with enjoying life. The only time it becomes wrong is if all of a sudden it starts harming you, as in like, oh, I want to be the CEO. I'm so happy. I didn't get CEO. Now I'm suffering, and there goes that trying to enjoy good things in life. It didn't turn out that way, and you suffer. Then you're not there yet. But you're like, oh, I want to be CEO. I didn't get it. Oh well, I'm still happy. There's the, I don't, I want to say, maybe lack of attachment to that. You want to do your best. You want to try your best. But if you get it, that's great. If you don't, then well, time to move on. Maybe it's not meant to be. You don't look at it as suffering because you didn't get it. It's just like something that you want to do, something that's great to achieve. But if you don't get it, well, maybe I'm not good enough. So it's not necessarily a complete detachment, but it's a detachment from suffering of things, I guess. It sounds terrible, but that's the way I look at things. Is that going to give me enlightenment? I have no idea. I'm not worried about getting enlightened. I'm just worried about not suffering too much. That's I know at least I can try with that one. Suffering may, if there's such thing as multiple lives, then I'll try next life.
That you can bring all sentient beings closer to out of rescue. So when we break our vows, and when we keep our vows, either way, with the wrong motivation, it can be progressing, and that's the secret. Because some people are very high and mighty. I don't do anything bad. They're already bad. The minute they say that, the minute they think that, they're already bad. Like I told you about that lady earlier in the Dharma talk, she goes everywhere. She knows everything. She does everything right. But you know what? During a Dharma talk, a brand new Dharma student came for teaching, and she had a beautiful, everybody had these cheapskate little bead mandalas, but she was rich in America 20 years ago. She had a silver mandala, not 3 layers, 4. And she had all these jewels and all this stuff. She was like, wow. And she did it perfectly, the mandala, perfectly. We're all like, wow. I was thinking, wow, mandala gets to me. Thinking, in my grasping mind, I think I can make more merit than her. And she doesn't need more merit, she's rich. I was thinking of that, oh, rich. Rich. This new Dharma student came along to the new course, all blah, 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 blah. Dharma students are wonderful, they're fabulous, they're beautiful, they're compassionate, they're kind, they're bodhicitta, they're Buddhism, it's Sonren-chi, it's a great initiation, we're offering mandala. And this lady was behind asking questions about fabric, it's mandala, blah, 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 blah. Lord, this lady was sitting there with her mandala, right? And she was doing it and all that stuff. And you know what? In the middle of the mandala, she got flustered and she was upset. After, I don't know, 15 years of practice, she turned around to the lady. She put her mandala down, she turned around to the lady and went like this. The lady never came back again. That's all it took. Yeah. Because it was not only subtly hypocritical. That's all she did. She didn't even say anything. She just went, and she looked at her in the eye. She turned around and looked at her squarely, and she just went. The lady never ever came back. Yeah. That one action threw her off the Dharma. You think it's her bad karma? Yeah, it's her bad karma, but you don't have to add to it. Someone's sitting there, they're on a beam. There's one mountain, there's one ledge here, and there's one beam here. And they're standing there, and they're juggling. Hey, catch! You don't do that one. They fall off completely. Oh, yes. That one action. They never came back. And that action didn't help. Do you know why? It came out of a self-grasping mind. Because it didn't help that lady. Because some people can do that, and the other person doesn't get affected. You know why some people can do it, they get affected, and some people can't? Because their habituation is self-grasping. Oh, yes. Does everybody understand that?
How long ago rerun that last part?
You know why some people can do it, they get affected, and some people can't? Because their habituation is self-grasping.
Because of their habituation of self-grasping.
Oh, yes.
That's everyone understands. Is he trying to say that because
get affected, some people can't because their habituation.
Because of their habituation of the I was thinking on the opposite, but as just reading this, it seems like the opposite of what I'm thinking. So I thought maybe he was saying that why some people can do that and still not have the self-grasping mind while doing that action, which makes sense. Like he explained earlier, where these people can do certain things, but because of the intent or the motivation, as he says it, they can do things without motivation. So, because of their, and I thought maybe that's what he meant, it's because um, of their habituation of the self-grasping. But maybe this is meant to be like how they can, silence the self-grasping mind. But I mean, habituation is just, I do believe the definition of that would be just your habit of doing something. So it could be in a good or a bad way, like habit of brushing your teeth, or habit of taking a shower. It's a good habit to have, or habit of smoking, or habit of drinking, which is a bad habit to have. So habits can go both ways. So this is the reason why I thought initially maybe he meant the good way, where because of their habituation of self-grasping, meaning they're good habits of preventing of the self-grasping. But I think maybe it meant to be the bad habits of self-grasping, meaning that you keep falling for the self-grasping mind. Let me know if I got that part right. This one's a little bit off, but I do see the similarities again here. I know Buddhism itself. I believe it's a branch of Hinduism. Hinduism was original, then Buddhism. I believe because Buddha didn't quite like Hinduism completely, and then he created his own path to it, which is still very similar to Hinduism, but just slightly different, I believe. Again, didn't study the history of it, but I have some knowledge of it. Not some, barely any. But anyways, that's my reaction to operating the self-grasping level versus the absolute level. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up the sound down below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next vid.